How do you see the current state of play now? Especially, it seems that Ukrainian forces are quite stalled around north of Kyiv. It seems to be that there's obviously Mariupol is a scene of heavy shelling, a lot of major civilian casualties going on there, and it seems to be increasingly talk of urban warfare and urban fighting, street to street kind of stuff starting. So I mean, how does that change the face of this war?
Yeah, so once Russia enters the city, you're going to see things change because when they're sitting on the outside, like I said, they're in relatively safe positions and just shooting, artillery bombardments, rockets, and artillery into the city. When they actually have to enter the city, they expose themselves. They're in smaller numbers, and then not only are they exposed to the the Ukrainian armed forces, but they're going to be exposed to tens of thousands of volunteers. They're going to be in the city fighting those Russian elements. So it's really going to Russia really doesn't want to enter the cities, but they're going to be forced to. But it's really they're going to take heavy losses throughout their movement into the cities, and it's going to be a tough urban fight.
I mean, is there anything that you think in terms of strategy, in terms of different types of weapons or tactics or things like that that could really change things on the ground and break this effectively the stalemate that we've been discussing?
I mean, wars always go on a lot longer than either side ever anticipates. I mean, that's kind of a common theme of war, right? If any side knew the outcome, one of them probably wouldn't have gone to war in the first place. Obviously, Ukraine didn't have a choice, but I don't think it just takes a long time, right, and heavy losses to actually make one side capitulate, right? Because at this point, there's a lot of sunk costs by the Russians, so there's no option, really for Putin, for an authoritarian to pull out, with a loss at this point. And Ukrainians not going to capitulate, right? They're not going to give up their sovereign nation and become a Soviet satellite, a Russian satellite. And so I think that's why it's just going to drag on. I don't think there's anything quick that can end this thing. And so I would expect it just to kind of be a long process.